Hi, this is Aaron with Wire and Magic, and I had a bunch of questions on my Facebook post about the Chronodex, on how to use it, and several comments on my blog post about it. So I thought I would do a quick little video showing you what the Chronodex is, how I use it, and then actually planning out a day with you. So let's get to it. One of the questions I got the most was, how do you use the Chronodex? Which I think leads to the question, what is a Chronodex? So, a Chronodex is this image. It's divided into 12 pie slices, like so. And each pie slice is 1 hour. So, if you imagine that this is a big clock face, where this is noon, or 12, this is 6, each one of these big slices is 1 hour. Then within the hour, there are notches on them, so you can divide it into 15-minute chunks quite easily. And this allows for really easily scheduling. So you can see here, I had to return something to a store and then commute into my office. So my return and commute is 45 minutes, starting at this half tick mark and then going to a quarter tick mark in the next hour. I really like this because it's a very visual way of scheduling how you're using your time, versus a task list which has no time context. So for example, I've already worked 2 hours on proofing this report. This report will probably take me a half hour to proof. Getting slides for this coworker, those will probably take me an hour. But this coding on an auto generation project I'm working on, that's like a 10-hour project. So when I have these large tasks like that, where I want to make progress, having scheduled out time to work on those really helps me. Because otherwise, I will go to my small tasks list and just do everything on here. And be like, oh, I did a lot of work today. But if I'm doing like 30, 10-minute things that aren't as important as my larger projects, I'm not being productive. So I personally have to check myself before I wreck myself. I went there. Currently, how I'm setting up my dailies is I will stamp this, then write out my big tasks. These are things that take longer than a half hour typically. And then I usually plot out my big projects. So this day is not a great example because I didn't have big projects going on. I knew I was going to have meetings this whole afternoon pretty much. So I wasn't going to get to a lot of my larger tasks. Let's flip over to a better example. I set up my Chronodex and then I started writing down my big tasks. These are two of my goals for the month, so vSpeed set up as a project for work, and Python is a class I've been taking. And actually, vFeed's going to require me to know Python. So every time I work on vFeed, I also get a little bit of Python boost. It's always really nice when your goals align like that. So for Python, I stamped out my stamp, and then I wrote in Python 9 to 10. Then, as I went through my day, I realized the Python 9 a.m. wasn't going to work, so I scratched it out and rescheduled it. Here's email and small tasks. I had a bunch of small tasks this day. Then I had a meeting, more email, and then I actually got to work on vFeed for about an hour. So each of these boxes here, I was trying Pomodoros, is a half hour. Small tasks I was writing on the side, but now I've started to use blue lathes. Actually, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Small tasks tracker. So you write out all your tasks, then you kind of assign them to a day. If you don't get to them, you just put a line through them and draw a new box, or you move the task. So here are my small tasks for this week. As you can see, I wrote out the days of the week at the top, and then I started assigning things to it. When I finished a task, I colored it in with my lovely Tombow N60, which unfortunately the paint is wearing off on. If I didn't finish it, I put a line through it and reassigned it. So I need to go through and clean this up a little bit for next week. Now I'll show you how I plan out my day using the Chronodex. I have Chronodex here I've stamped out, and now I'm going to plot out what I think Monday should be. So I like to write the date on the top of the page. So Monday is going to be, today's the 10th, 11th, 12th. So we're going to have 12, Monday, It's gonna be December. And then my handwriting is probably not going to be as nice as normal. I usually get right up next to the page with my face, but if I do that, then nobody can see the camera. Now, let's schedule out my large tasks. So, I know I'm going to need to work on Python. I know I'm going to need to work on vfeed. I have a couple of things I need to proofread for a coworker, so I'm going to add those. And then I need to make slides for another team. So those are going to be my big tasks for the day. I have no meetings on Monday, somehow, miracle. So now I'm going to schedule out a couple of things. I like to use the Staedtler Tripus fineliner pens, and I actually just bought this Nature Colors pack about a month ago, which I love for this season. So now let's schedule some things out. I usually like to work on Python around in the morning, so I'm going to pick 9 a.m. So this is my clock face, this is 9. And then this is an hour. So if I do a whole hour, I'll be thrilled, but I have to at least work for 10 minutes is my agreement with myself. So then I put 10, it is 9 a.m. Python. And then I've blocked out from 9 to 10 on the clock face. So then, vfeed I believe I did in red. Yep, this pretty maroon color. So, I know that the vfeed project probably has 10 hours left in it. So I'm going to schedule myself as working on that. From 10, probably till noon. And then I'll stop and check my email. And then, this is silly, but I like to line up my hash marks so they make like a 90-degree angle. I just think it makes it look really fun. Alright, so now I have vfeed scheduled from 10 to noon. After, I'll have lunch in here and take a break and walk my dog. And then I use green for work. Ooh, green. From 1 to 2, I will check my email and probably work on these proofs. So 1 p.m. And then I will give email. Actually, I think I'm going to do small tasks here. These are things that are just on my to-do list that don't take super long but need to be done. So I will do email and small tasks, and then I will finish this proof and finish that proof. I'll try to do those both in an hour. It's a little bit of an aggressive timeline. And then that would give me these couple of hours here to, I usually stop working at 5, but not always. But this will give me an hour to do slides, and then probably get another hour of vfeed work in. And sometimes I like to leave my end of my day open-ended like that, just in case something comes up. But then I have a rough plan of what I need to focus on for the day. So, to review, my large tasks I write down because those are the most important ones I need to focus on and need to make time for. Otherwise, I can let the day be consumed by small busy tasks that just give me that happy check mark. And I schedule those first. Then, I also try to take into account when I'm going to be tired. So after lunch, I'm usually a little sleepy, so I'll do all the small tasks then, instead of the things that require a lot of focus and concentration. And then I can flip over to my small tasks. And I know I'm going to work on some of these, and I usually schedule which ones I'm going to work on that morning. And that's pretty much how I plan with the Chronodex.
So now I'll answer some questions that I got on Facebook and on my blog post.
One of the questions I got about the Chronodex was how to use it if you have more than 12 hours scheduled in your day. So for me personally, I don't usually have more than 12 hours scheduled. A lot of my evening tasks are things like go to concert from 7 to 10 p.m. So they don't need to be closely managed like my day-to-day. However, there's a couple of solutions I've seen. The first one is on this Chronodex image I have, I modified it to take off some of the additional hours of the day.
If you look at the upper left quadrant, you can see a dotted line. This overlaps from the 9 to noon or midnight area. So on the lower parts here, the pie slices, you could do your 9 to noon, and then along the dotted line, you can do your midnight to 12. Same thing on the lower left quadrant. You can see there's a 6 to 8 a.m. boxed area.
For me personally, when I've had days where I've had to schedule more than 12 hours, I just stamp it again. I really like how it looks with the lines coming off. And having to draw a second line to get to the small chunk here would look super messy to me. Or if there were a line here, drawing through that, I wouldn't like it. The third way I've seen is also using a spiral dex. So I'll insert an image here. They spiral outward from the center of a clock, so you can add more hours to your day quite easily. So that's basically how I use a Chronodex to plan my day. If you found this video helpful, like it. It lets me know that the content was helpful for you. Also, if you hit subscribe down below, I'm planning to post one video a month from now on about various planner-related things. And leave a comment if you have any more questions about the Chronodex, and I'll be sure to address them. Thanks for watching.